Welcome back to Adventures with Afterthought. This time we go on a crazy adventure with Juicy J and Travis Scott. So, the first big show that I ever did in Pittsburgh as a DJ was a show at a place called Extasa. It used to be called Club Zoo. I think it was called a couple of other names, Jets or something, I'm not sure. But it was a big hit back in the day. It was like a teen club, more or less. It kind of grew and then was also like a college night place and also an adult club for different people who came in and out of town. Big venue, holds about 1,500 people. It's not open anymore, but it was a dope place when it was open. Somehow, some way, in like all of these stories, I ended up in a crazy situation and being able to DJ for the Juicy J and Travis Scott show. Travis Scott was opening for Juicy J on the tour. I personally had no idea who Travis Scott was at all. And this is, I'm telling you, I love music and I'm so in tune to music, but I didn't know who Travis Scott was at this point. He wasn't big, he was still just, he wasn't really known yet. I just didn't really know. I feel bad saying that now because I just didn't know. But I'm a fan now and I was a fan after that day. So we're even. So I don't know how I ended up on it. I don't even remember what the circumstances was. I was supposed to DJ for a local act that was going up and then I was supposed to spin after that for a while. And just like any other show, there's just lots of chaos and you don't really know what's going on. So I get there and it's just wild. Right off the bat, the day started kind of crazy. I knew one of the promoters randomly as well in this whole thing. I was able to kind of get some of the details and figure out what was going on kind of behind the scenes and what I had to expect before I got there and to see what equipment I needed to bring. While I was doing that, I was asked by a guy named Ray. Now, if you know Juicy J, you know Ray. It's his tour manager. I think his manager does Juicy J, does Project Pat. Awesome, super dope guy, but he handles all their stuff. I had never met him before, but I knew a bunch of the Taylor Gang guys, and so I just figured he was cool, he was part of the camp, so I had no problem helping out. He asked me to like run to Walmart or Target or something because they needed something and couldn't get the tour bus from the city outside. I'm on my way there, I don't care, that's fine. I stop, I go to, I think it was Target and get some random things, bring it to the tour bus, go to the tour bus, they let me in the tour bus, bring the stuff, oh, they're like, oh, thank you, you know, appreciate it, blah, blah, super cool to me. I get off the bus, I go inside. When I get inside, Extasa is like it's kind of narrow. It's kind of like a narrower place. There's like some, if you're on stage and you're looking out this way, there's like a bar, a couple layers of bars and a flat area out here. And as you kind of go up, there's some stairs that go up to some sections and different areas all around. At the end of the day, it's just kind of like a hallway with some sections around it and whatnot. That's if you're looking out from stage, so you kind of get a visual of what's going on. So when I walk in, completely empty, nobody there, I start setting up my stuff. So one thing about me, if you know me, you know that I'm super OCD about everything. I'm on time. I make sure that I'm there earlier than I'm supposed to be just to alleviate any problems. I just know better. I've known better for a long time. I just try to make sure that I'm respectful and I'm there to help if anybody needs help. And I just want to be there to take it all in. So if that means I got to get there early, I got to get there early. It's cool. When I'm there, I'm setting up, putting my stuff up. Juicy J's DJ comes and some of the other DJs come. It's a little bit of a weird situation because everybody has different things and we start talking amongst ourselves to kind of figure out where and what's going to be used. One of those guys was DJ Yemi. DJ Yemi's one of my really close friends. He lives down in Morgantown, super dope DJ, all around great guy. He was there. It was cool because I knew him and I was able to interact with him and we were able to figure out our situation and another person. So that took out one of our controllers. So we're like, we'll just use one together, blah, 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 blah. At that point, I leave soundcheck, I leave my stuff there, my gear, everything's set up. I'm like, cool, I feel comfortable. I head out and I go back to my house. When I get back to my house, my girl is there and also one of my really best friends in the whole entire world. His name is Justin Main. He goes by @Photified on Instagram. He's one of the best photographers and one of the best photo manipulators and Photoshop people in the world. He's so sick, so definitely go check him out. But anyway, he came down from Canada, from Toronto, and he came to chill with me and he was coming to the show and just to hang out, and we were doing a bunch of work, and my girl was at the apartment as well, and she was coming to the show naturally with me. And I was like, oh, you know, I can't wait to do this. We head from the apartment and we head down to the venue. When we get to the venue, we have to park super far away because there's no parking spots. We're like, wow, this is kind of crazy that it's really packed, but we couldn't really see what was going on. So we park way far down. After we park, we get out of the car and we start walking. If you've ever been to the Strip in Pittsburgh, this venue is in the Strip in Pittsburgh. And if you've ever been to the Strip, you know it's this big long road. And on each side of the road, on the left is just a bunch of parking spaces and an old terminal, like an old train terminal, and it was a market, but it's all ran down at that point, right? And there was nothing in there, but there's just cars. And then on this side, there's all industrial warehouses, and there's like a scare factory place for the Halloween time, all these random things going down. And you have to walk, and it's just kind of a crazy thing because you're just walking, the river's here, the city's behind you, you're walking down all these cars, all these things. And as I'm going, we start seeing all these people. And we're like, what's going on there? Because the venue's way down. We have ways to go and there's a bunch of people. So we're just kind of like trying to figure it out, and we're walking. We figure out that this is the actual line for the show. The show is completely sold out, and this is basically the end of the line as it goes down another street, blocks up from where the venue is. So we're looking at it and just like, this is crazy. Was not expecting it to be this crazy. And this is hours before the show. We keep walking, let alone that's exactly what it is. It's the line for the show, and it's just as crazy as possible. Put in the comments the longest line that you've stood in for any show that you've ever been to. I would really love to hear it. But this was one of the longest lines that I had seen because they didn't let anybody in and everybody was there already. It wasn't like some people were late. No, everybody was there super early, ready to go. We get to the front, I call the promoter, they let us in, I go to the green room. So I'm from Pittsburgh, everybody knows that. I love the 412. I know a bunch of the Taylor Gang guys, I know everyone in the city, and it just so happens that Juicy J is part of Taylor Gang, and there was a bunch of people that were there from Taylor Gang, from Pittsburgh, that were at the show. So when I get there, Chevy Woods is there, and Light is there. If you guys know, go on tour and you do the meet and greets, Light is the guy that's there with you guys taking the pictures, handling all that stuff, and it's Wiz's right-hand man. Chevy Woods, amazing Taylor Gang artist. You guys obviously know him as well. Another one of Wiz's right-hand mans, like super dope dudes. I just felt comfortable because I know them. So we get there, they're rolling up, hanging out, everybody's having a drink. So we're in there, and again, I don't know who Travis Scott is, right? So at that point, I just didn't know who he was. So all these openers went, nobody else was allowed in the green room. All the openers and stuff, the local people weren't allowed in the green room. Fortunate enough, I was allowed in the green room, right? So I didn't want to have any extraness or anything like that. So I'm back there, I'm looking around, Chevy's back there, Ludi's back there. All of a sudden, Juicy J walks in, and I look over and I didn't realize, but Travis Scott's in there as well. And again, I didn't know who Travis Scott was at that point because he just wasn't big yet, and I just didn't know who he was. Again, no disrespect, it was early on and I just wasn't hip to it yet. I looked over and I didn't really recognize him, and Juicy J came in, and I'll never forget this, and he was like, hey, those are I think it was Sour Patch Kids. I wish that I remember what it was. I think it was Sour Patch Kids. When he came in and he looked at Travis Scott, he was like, yo, like, something to the effect of like, those are my Sour Patch Kids. And then Travis Scott just like looked at him, and his manager was with him, and he kind of gave him the look, and Travis Scott, his manager, like walked out. Like he was basically like, get out of here, get away from my Sour Patch Kids. And the green room wasn't very big, so it was just such a crazy scene. So I was just like, man, we're gonna get kicked out of here for sure. This dude doesn't know me, and he just kicked out the opener guy, basically. He just dapped me up, dapped Justin up, said hi to my girl, just sat there, chilled for a little while, kind of had a drink, chilled there for a couple minutes, and then I'll remember they were having a little bit of issues with a mic, and I'll never forget that because I walked out there and I went up to the booth and I was trying to help Travis Scott's DJ kind of figure out why the mic wasn't working with the mixer. So we get it working, and then Travis Scott comes up and grabs the mic from me, just grabs it out of my hand, and his set starts. He just grabs the mic, boom, right into his set. And he crushed it. Up to that point, I'd never seen anybody. He did the whole crowd walk where you step out onto the, people put their hands up and he steps out onto the crowd. And in Club Zoo, like I said, or Extaz or whatever it was at the time, it's very narrow and it has the bars over here and he has these big poles, these light poles everywhere. So he was able to crowd walk over to one of the poles, climb up the pole and hang from the pole and perform, and everybody went crazy. It was wild, he crushed it, it was amazing. He comes off stage, Juicy comes out, it's Juicy J. He came out and smashed smashed, had the crowd just going completely crazy, played all his new stuff, all his old stuff, just completely lit it up. Went back, went to the green room, dipped. What an amazing night it was. I will never forget that experience. Like I said, it was one of the biggest shows that I had ever played up until that point in Pittsburgh, and I was able to do the little local thing, and then when I spun, it was the first time I was like, wow, I connect with these people. I went out, I took the mic. There's actually a really dope picture of me going out and just engaging with the crowd. It's gonna be right here. And you can check that out because it's just something I'll never forget. The next adventure that we're gonna go on is an even crazier one. This one I definitely will never ever forget. It was the Chief Keef hologram show in Hammond, Indiana, right outside of Chicago when Chief Keef wasn't allowed in Chicago, and it was crazy. So make sure you come back next time and check it out.